everyone, and welcome to the best chat with me, Espen Haugen. And today we have our special guest, Alee Attoe. So, hi, Alee.
Hi, Espen. Always great to see you.
Always great to see you too. So, I'm so excited for this interview, and we and I know from you in Best Life, you've been doing a really many good, great classes as you having the achievement class and the connection to source. So would you love to expand about that for how it is for you, this connection to source and the achievement classes, what it's about
Yeah.
and how it feels for you?
Oh yeah, absolutely. It's been so fun to do both of those classes. So the Achieving Your Best Life class is kind of a compilation of all of the incredible practices, mindsets, techniques like our freedom release technique, which helps basically take away blocks from all the brilliant things that are kind of part of us already, part of our inner person, that person that is connected to source or connected to God, and allowing those things to get released. So achieving your best life, it's just kind of a an experiential overview of all the tools and techniques that we use at Best Life. Um, so it's so much fun to teach, and Best Life is such an incredible entity because we just continue to evolve and get better and better. And so that class is also always evolving. It's always um, updated with the new things that have been downloaded to Best Life, and the things that we feel like Source has given us, the things that we feel like are really aligning to us really being and doing and having the things that we really truly want. So just love teaching that class. And the connection to source is just such a particular passion of mine because I've lived my life in connection and I've lived my life not in connection. Not that source ever is disconnected from us or God is ever disconnected from us. It's just our pinching off, our not allowing that connection to be there. So it really is one of my passions in life to help people find that connection again in a really authentic way. So also such a pleasure and a joy to teach that class.
It's so good, Ali, and I love what you share about the connection to source and can you telling me a story about that? This allowingness and to be in the source and when there's contrast, how techniques for or allowing us for getting into the source again. Do you have something special techniques you use for yourself, or like you have a meditation, you have different things? um yeah, so what do you when you are something going on in your life and you
Yeah.
um
Well, I think the first thing to know is that, like I mentioned earlier, is that we are always 100% connected to source, and that source looks at us with such incredible love and acceptance and excitement about helping us move forward to the next thing, to the next expansion. And that knowing that, I think, is life changing, because a lot of us feel like just we've been taught that our source or God or higher power is actually disapproving of us, disappointed with us, and that we have to act certain ways to have that connection. And if we don't act the right way, that we don't get to have that. And then a lot of people feel really lost, like they can never bridge that gap. They can never find that way. And so that's why a lot of people are really angry with God and feel very separated. But my experience, and I know a lot of our besties' experience and yours, Espen, from all your beautiful stories about your very wonderful connection to source, is that really it is allowing ourselves to go back to that connection. It's allowing ourselves to understand, to trust, that there might be something that really does look at us with unconditional love, that really does have our best at heart, that really wants to help us move forward into a better and better version of ourselves. And what's amazing too is that like you're saying, sometimes in life we don't feel good. Sometimes we're having what you're calling contrast, which is maybe a negative emotion or negative situation that we don't really like, that we don't really prefer. And when you know that there is this massive source of unconditional love for you, then those little things don't matter as much anymore.
Mm,
And you can kind of take a step back from that negative situation and go, well, and this is one of the things that we hear from Abraham Hicks a lot is, well, now I know what I don't want, so well, maybe now I really have more understanding of what it is I do want. And
mm,
those moments can actually be moments where solutions are created, moments where we get a lot of clarity. And so giving ourselves a big break when we're not feeling good about something is a good place to start. And and then trying to find something that maybe will soothe us, will make us feel a little bit better. And there's lots of different ways to do this. Sometimes you just have to put that situation aside and not think about it for a while. I always kind of imagine myself taking whatever that thing is and putting it up on a shelf. Like, I'm just going to take this thing, I'm going to put it up on the shelf, and source, God, if you can help me take care of this situation, I know because I'm feeling negative about it that I can't look at it right now. If I can't look at something, if something is making me really angry, if it's making me really upset or really stressed out, that means that right now I'm not in a good place to actually evaluate the situation. I need to get back into alignment with my source. And I know that I'm in alignment because that's when I feel good. It's when I feel peaceful, when I feel calm, when I know that everything's okay. So if something comes up, a lot of times I'm just going to put it to a side, not because I want to avoid it forever, because I want to get back in alignment and look at it from through the eyes of source, from a clearer space. And that's where that trust comes in too. Knowing that you actually can take these things and put them aside and ask for source, for God to help you handle it, help you handle the emotions around it, just release it and then come back to it when you feel good. And I find most of the time that the things just sort them out themselves somehow. Somehow source gets in there, and things shift with people or situations, and either it's completely taken care of, or my part that I have to do is so much smaller and easier and ends up being joyful. So it's always wonderful to witness that.
mm. I love what you share, Ali, everything, and it's so good. So thanks for that. And so tell me more about like Abraham Hicks. How is Abraham impacted your life? And what is that you feel when you know listening or reading Abraham Hicks? What is that energy that resonated with you?
Yeah, so Abraham Hicks was, it took me a little while to kind of accept that it could be a voice coming from source, just because it's it's so different than what I had heard. Not that the unconditional love part, I'd heard that before, um, but the part about taking personal responsibility, it's something I learned at Best Life too. But really being taking personal responsibility for everything that is in my life, that I've created it somehow. And knowing also with that is the incredible power of how I can so deliberately create what I want in my life. So when I listen to Abraham Hicks, um, it's more of a, and I think this is for all of us when we listen to any spiritual teacher, that there should be or could be a confirming of what we already know inside. And so when I
Mm,
listen, it is that part of me that goes, yes, oh, I get it. Oh, yes, of course, because we're all connected and there's a place where truth lives in all of us. And for me now, if I'm listening to anyone, whether it's Abraham Hicks or any other teacher or guide, I'm kind of looking internally to, Abraham Hicks calls it your inner being, but that's that place in your heart or where you're really connected to God or to source, I'm always looking for a part of me that says, "Oh yes, I think I kind of already knew this already somehow," because that confirms to me that we're on the right track. And I get that when I listen to Abraham, even if it's something that's very new or expanding for me. I get that internal, "Oh yes, somehow I knew this. It's so good. And it feels right. It feels clear." Um, and when you have that clarity and that peace and that assuredness, again, whoever you're listening to, that's some of the signs that you're listening to something that's on track and that is good for you.
So good.
And I'm sorry, you asked me a little question and I talk forever, so you can
I love
interrupt
it.
me at any time.
Can listen to you, can listen to you all day long to speak about this. It feels so good, and I feel your alignment, and that's what I'm pretty sure everyone feel. You know, when you're sharing on this class, I've been on your achievement classes, you're connected, so you can, and it's with all the messages. You know, it's the alignment. You speak from source, and when you say that, yes, it's in you. You just feel it when there's something allowing you to become more of the energy and more of that information and more of that what's been said, you know, for you to expand on. And it feels so good to just to know that everything is for us. It's so true
Yeah.
also. And so how are your where are you living, and how is your day looking for you? You know, how are you starting your day, Ali? And
Yeah. So I when I wake up in the morning, I try to take a moment or two just to appreciate a new day, to appreciate like my beautiful, comfortable bed. I love my bed. Um, and then, most mornings I try to do a meditation right away, just because I've got small kids, and it's really nice just to do that before everyone wakes up. And if I don't do it right then, I usually do it after the kids go to school. But I do try to do a meditation and then just a little bit of, and not everyone may have heard of this, but it's called segment intending. It's a technique taught by Abraham, and it's this idea that your day is broken up into different sections or different segments, and to just take a second or two to kind of put out into the universe what you want that next section of that day to be. And I'll just say too, really quick, that Jen, who's our wonderful CEO, who's on here, hi Jen, and Super Dave are teaching a class on this right now on
mm,
Saturdays on segment intending, this idea of pre-paving, which is kind of setting up your day with the energy and the intention and the vibration that you want to have. So I really do notice a difference when I take the time to meditate, which means focusing my mind on something else, whether it's a sound or my breath, so that my internal vibration has a chance to rise. Because our minds kind of can block that if they're really, really busy. And then taking those couple minutes here and there just to say, oh, yes, okay. So I'm going into like, now I'm going to go wake up the kids and start breakfast and lunches. And, I just really am looking forward to connecting with them and having it be just a peaceful, joyful time in the morning. And then when they're off, thinking about the next section, whether it's driving to work or working from home. And the whole time, paying attention a lot to my feelings. Like if I wake up and I'm not feeling great, like, okay, you know what? What can I shift? What can I think about? What can I appreciate? And not really pay too much attention to what doesn't feel good, but look intentionally for the things that do. So that basically runs throughout my day. If I'm not feeling great about something, if something comes into my experience, like that's okay. I'm not going to condemn myself, and we shouldn't condemn ourselves. If something comes into our experience, we can learn from it and we can use that moment to really learn how to appreciate something that maybe we wouldn't have looked for before. I mean, I've found that part of the excitement in having something come up that maybe we don't prefer is learning how to find basically the gold, find the things that we can appreciate, and then see what magic comes from that kind of appreciation, just that simple, simple act.
so good, so good. So and Ali, where do you live? You live in Canada, right? So
I do.
So how is it there in your home place? What's fun and joy is it there in your home?
Well, there's so many things. Like I'm actually originally from the US and I love the US as well. So I'm an immigrant to Canada, more or less. And I love, actually, one of the things I really love about Canada and this particular place, kind of central Canada, close to Toronto, is that there's so many immigrants. I love different cultures. I love meeting people who have lived in other parts of the world and have just a different idea of different experiences, different ways that they grew up. So where I live in Canada is very multicultural, and I've always loved that. It's winter now, and I know a lot of people complain about the snow, but I actually really love the winter and the snow because I have little kids, so we get to go sledding and ice skating and, just do these outdoor winter sports that are they're unique. I mean, you live in Norway. There's certain things that there's
For
certain
sure.
things that you can only do in the snow that are really fun as well.
Mm,
And I love the town that I live in because again, it has a mix of the multiculturalism, really fun restaurants, but then it's also very outdoorsy. There's lots of waterfalls and places to hike. And those are all, I love that mixture. I can either be in the country or the city pretty much, within a 10 or 15-minute drive. So, yeah.
that is so good. So thanks for sharing that, Ali, everything. So how many kids do you have, and what's and what do you like to do with them? With the fun stuff and
Yeah. Well, my kids are Malcolm is 6, he's almost 7, and Emma is 8, and she's going to be 9 soon as well. So they have birthdays coming up, and they're both so fun. Malcolm is he's basically like a little inventor almost. Like he's one of those boys that wants to sit and tear everything apart and then figure out how to put it back together, but in his own way, which is so fun. And he has the most incredible Lego creation. So I actually really like doing
oh, that's so
Lego with
cool.
him and seeing I took a picture, maybe I'll share it later, like all these just wonderful cars and with propellers on the side and jet engines and all kinds of fun stuff. He's a lot of fun, just so full of life and creativity. And my daughter Emma is very, very sweet, also very creative. She's telling me that she wants to be an author and she started to write her own little books. She loves to draw and read and write and is very, very, very sweet and thinks a lot of others and kind of how to be a good friend and how to be a good sister. So they're just wonderful kids. And we do all kinds of stuff. I mean, I tend to be a bit on the outdoorsy side, so we take them on hikes a lot. Um, there's some beautiful hikes and beautiful outdoor centers here that we go to. And then, they're kids. They like pretty much anything. The trampoline parks that are nearby, just going to parks. But you know what I notice with my kids, and I think this is probably true for any kid, what they really want from us, they don't care about doing the things so much as they really just want my husband and I to be really present with them.
Mm,
And they have been such good teachers for me about the value of living in the present moment. And Emma's a bit more polite, but my son Malcolm, if I'm not in the present moment with him, he will let me know. He'll let me know one way or another that he wants me to be right there with him because it's his time with his mom. And it's been so inspiring to see um, how present and alive and creative they are because they still so much live in the present. And when I've been able to do that, and I really think that, I hear often parents who aren't enjoying their time with their small kids, like, oh, they can't wait till their kids grow up so they can have their freedom back or whatever. And I feel so bad for them because they're missing out when we're able to be, what I've just found, when I'm able to be present with my kids, there's just so much joy and so much fun. And I really get to see who they are and I get to experience myself as a mother in a whole different way as well. So I love seeing parents learn that lesson of being present with their kids and then getting to really just enjoy the freedom that comes from that and then take that into the rest of their lives as well. Like, oh, you know what? If I'm present more often everywhere else in my life, then maybe this joy gets to continue. And it does actually. So it's pretty incredible.
I love it and so inspirational. Thanks for sharing that, Ali. That is so inspirational what you say, that to be present with your kids and you know it's isn't true, you know, when you're feeling your alignment, the alignment inspiring everyone. And like kids, like you say, they are really, you know, in the present all the time, most of it, you know, when they're young and they're feeling their own alignment and enjoying themselves. And it is so nice to then cooperate with that energy and then come together in that, you know, not to be discord by anything else. But I really love what you shared. It's so inspirational and it's so good to hear that for all of us who's here. And it is so beautiful to feel it. You know, when you share, I can feel that energy. So thanks a lot.
Yeah,
So
my pleasure.
I will also
Yeah.
love to ask you. So what fun do you love to do? What is your favorite thing for to do?
Just for
And
myself?
yeah.
Yeah, well, I also, just for myself, just like being outside, um, out in nature, whether it's hiking or like out in a canoe, just anything outside, I usually really enjoy. I love reading, like, I love reading novels for fun. Again, it's that getting other people's perspectives. I think that's always really fascinating. And I just love hanging out with people. I mean, one of my favorite things to do is just to hang out with my husband and kids or hang out with my friends and just chat over a glass of wine and connect. I mean, I feel really, really blessed that I have such an incredible family and I've got really wonderful friends. And all of you besties as well. It's such a joy and such a gift. So it's pretty simple. It's reading, hiking, and hanging out with folks.
Mm. So good. And you also, can you tell me a story? You How long have you been in Best Life? We know, when was the Best Life's journey start for you? And
Oh yeah, I love this story so much. So I think it's been about 2 years, maybe two and a half. And basically, like, I was really fortunate. I had a great group of people that I was working with, but there just was something in me that was really ready for more. Like, so I have a financial business, and the training was so good, and so much of the training really opened, my mind to the power of our thinking. And I got exposed to, Napoleon Hill and some of these other great thinkers of our time. And it was wonderful, and it still is. There's still a lot of fantastic people in that organization. But for me specifically, I was asking, I know now, I was asking specifically for something more, something, and I didn't even really know what it was. I just wasn't quite getting what was specific to what my heart was crying out for. And I went on Meetup. I don't know if most people are probably familiar with this. So Meetup is just a place where you can find groups and go meet people, basically for different categories of things. And I saw a group that was about manifesting. I don't remember. It might have been called Manifesting Your Best Life. I didn't really know specifically about manifesting at the time. I mean, I knew that it was important to think good thoughts, but I didn't really know the power, like how those good thoughts go out into the universe and can actually come back as a tangible thing in your life. And so I was reading the description of the class and it was like, oh my gosh, I need to go to this. Like, I just felt that inner knowingness that, like, yes, this is for me. And I had other obligations that night, and I usually fulfill those, but that overriding knowingness of like, no, I need to be at this other place, um, was very present. So I went, and the person teaching it was Jamie Brooks, who is one of our incredible besties, and instructors. And she was teaching this class all about how to manifest, and she did some amazing like exercises, and just everything she was saying was speaking right to me, right to what I was interested in, right for to what I was looking for. And so realizing that, when I did become a member, I thanked Jamie. And this was so powerful because I was thanking her for something that she did. But she said to me, well, you manifested it. And it was such an empowering moment for me to go, right, I was looking for something, and God, source, universe found a way in my hometown with this, wonderful person who's become a friend, um, for me to connect with her and this whole group of people. And it's changed my life like massively. Um, and it's so wonderful because it is this whole idea of that when we ask, right? If we ask and we just allow the universe to bring us the solution, to bring us the answer, it will come. It will come. And I didn't know to resist because I didn't really understand that I was asking, but it works with everything. When we ask, it will be given in some way, somehow, and we just get to witness it coming in. And it's such an incredible blessing when it does.
I love that, Lee. And what do you feel that's have been changing for you to be a part of Best Life? What is that uh, story?
Yeah. Oh, so many things. I mean, a lot of it for me was I mentioned earlier, taking personal responsibility. So I was somebody that um, a lot of times I wanted to blame others for the things in my life that I didn't like. It was easy to take credit for the things in my life I liked. Um, but when it came to the things I didn't like, I kind of, it was easy for me to, and you know what, this is something I think that seems kind of common. Like I could blame something on my upbringing, or where I grew up, or something I'd experienced in my life, good or bad, or my spouse, or my kids, or my situation, or the country I lived in. Like there's always something else to blame. And I realized through Best Life that if I didn't take responsibility for every single piece of my life, that I wouldn't be able to move forward. And that I also wouldn't be able to really fully create what I wanted. Because if I'm going to create what I want, then I need to take responsibility deliberately for what I'm creating instead of creating kind of by default, which means that I'm not really using how I feel to decide where I want to go. That might be
Mm,
like too big of a topic for right now, but it really was that personal responsibility and making the decisions that, well, I think also understanding that most of the time, if I chose to, I really could feel good. Most of the time, I could be in a place of satisfaction, contentment, joy, passion, excitement, all of these positive feelings. I could live there most of the time. And I didn't
mm,
know that was possible. Um, and so part of me taking responsibility for my life was taking responsibility for my emotions too. What I was going to notice, what I was going to appreciate. And also knowing that when things came up that I didn't really like, that it really wasn't such a big deal. Source was there for me. Those moments meant that I just get to expand and learn from it and move forward from it. And that, those things are a blessing as well. The negative things in our life help us know actually what we do want. And this can be a sign of growth as well. Because we're moving into new things. And sometimes when we move into new things, it's not always like 100% smooth because we've never experienced it before. So, um, yeah, just finding that those moments of contrast really meant that I was always growing and moving forward, and that in those moments that the universe already had a solution for whatever was going on in my life. It was already going to provide whatever it is that I needed to continue to expand and move forward. So, I mean, those are just some of the things. And I have to say, like, I've had such a big improvement in my ability to love myself and accept myself. I've really reconnected, back to God, to Source in like a very significant and meaningful way for me. That's probably what I'm the most appreciative of. And I have seen a big shift in my finances. I've seen a big shift in my relationships. Um, and it's so beautiful because I just feel like for us at Best Life and for myself, that it's only the beginning. So it's very, very, very exciting.
I love that, Ali. Wow. Wow, it's so much inspirational. It's so much beautiful things you always share, and I so appreciate you, Ali, for being here, sharing your feel good story, and
Thank you.
wow, that was really amazing. Thank you. And yeah, like we always say, it's more to come. And thank you everyone who's been listening here for this interview with me and Ali here and hearing her story. Thank you for anticipating and for your comments. And I would say thank you again so much, Ali, for being here and sharing your story. And it's so inspirational. So, and always. So thank you so much.
Oh, thank you, Espen. I always love connecting with you, and you're so inspiring yourself. I've learned a lot from you, definitely. So thanks for having me on, and I look forward to connecting more. Thanks, everybody, for being on. It was such a pleasure to be here with you.
Thank you. Love you guys.
Love you guys. Bye.